So Grant, as head of planning at Boyer London, what is most often misunderstood about planning by a land or property owner?
It's a curious one because you've almost got two ends of a spectrum. You get those that think the planning process is about filling out a form, waiting 8 weeks and getting a planning permission.
Right.
And then there are others at the other end of the spectrum who think it's an absolutely impenetrable process, that it's capricious and that it's arbitrary, and they're terrified of even engaging with it. It's probably fair to say that most people are in the latter category. People are a bit frightened by it, but that's what we're here for, basically, to navigate people through it. That's what it's what we get paid for. That's what our skills are in. It's fair to say that even as professionals, we equally get frustrated with some of those things, the capriciousness and arbitrary nature of it. But those two things equally are probably the main issues that people have with the planning system. Other common misconceptions are that making a planning application is little more than providing some drawings and putting an application in.
I've seen that, yes.
It happens an awful lot, and I think we find people are often surprised when we say the lengths that people must go to satisfy a planning application requirements. You need to design a building, have all the drawings that accompany that. You need to make a planning case. You'll often need to demonstrate that the land is not contaminated, for example. You need to demonstrate that it's not going to cause any harm to transport. You've got to consider the environmental sustainability of the building you're going to put there, and this means involving quite a few professionals. No one wants to go off and instruct those kinds of professionals until you at least know that you've got a scheme to start with, and that's why it's important that we come in at the early stage to manage the expectations about what the site can actually deliver. Some misconceptions at a slightly more extreme end sometimes are that it's entirely politically motivated, that there is disregard for planning policy and the law per se. In really extreme cases, you get people who still think it's all done by brown paper envelopes, and it's certainly not the case at all.
Yeah.
Another thing I think is that when people think of planning as a process or an obstacle to them, they forget that it's about town planning. It's about planning a town. It's about making sure that that town can function. And that, I think, points to the importance of these sites, like little industrial sites or little employment sites, and it points to the importance of them. A city can't function on just homes alone. It has to have its employment sites. It has to have community facilities, etc., etc. And that's why the value of these must be considered in planning terms. It's not all about housing.
Everything you would consider as an individual living in an area that it has everything that you need or may want as well.
Because without those things, the city would just cease to function.
Excellent point. Thank you.